Jodi Arias looked like the girl next door, beautiful young woman who'd become the center of the national spotlight. In a sensational trial, accused of murdering her ex-boyfriend, Travis Alexander.
It was a fatal attraction. Definitely a fatal attraction here.
Testimony captivating the country.
As the homicide occurred, the camera is continuing to click photographs. It's almost like having somebody videotape your murder.
Unheard of to have that kind of evidence.
Coming up, the evidence and the bizarre interrogation tapes.
I'm not a murderer.
Plus, the stunning moment when Jodi takes the stand.
Called me a bitch and kicked me in the ribs.
The most notorious cases of obsession, betrayal, and murder. Yes, we're talking about Jodi Arias and the tragic death of Travis Alexander. This isn't your typical love story gone wrong. It's the kind of tale that leaves you wondering how it could all go so terribly, terribly awry. So let's break it down in a way that's not just easy to follow, but also gets right to the heart of the drama. Travis Alexander was a man on the move.
Now to the Jodi Arias trial, where the jury will be back in court tomorrow. It's the final day of testimony.
ABC 15's Mary Ellen Resendez sat down with one Valley family where court is a painful reminder of the friend they lost.
Travis Alexander was born in Riverside, California, and after his parents died, he and his 7 brothers and sisters were taken in by their grandmother. Their faces in court are now very familiar to us. But here in Arizona, Travis had another family. Meet the Hyatts.
I was privileged to have Travis adopt us as his family. Called me his Arizona dad.
He was one of the funniest guys I know. He had one of the most infectious laughs.
Brent Hyatt was the first to meet Travis at a PPL function. First impressions were tough, but Travis soon charmed his way into Brent's good graces.
He just made like a special effort to get to know us guys that he had never known before. He obviously cared very, very much and was willing to humble himself and, do whatever it took to help me find success.
Brent and his brother eventually became Travis's roommates, and Travis became a part of their family.
He was great. He was open. He was funny. We just felt like almost instant family.
Travis not only fit with the Hyatts, he soon inspired them with his stories of childhood abuse and how he overcame it.
He mentioned that when his mom would beat him on the back, he would pretend it was his grandpa just patting him on the back and telling him that he's special.
3 days before Travis Alexander was killed, he told the Hyatts those pats on the back from Grandpa Vic were his calling.
I want to take Grandpa Vic's message to the world. You're special. I don't care how you were raised, in the camper shell or wherever, you can do anything. You can be anything.
The Hyatts say, in spite of what we've heard in this trial, that Travis Alexander was a builder of men and that he inspired many with his blogs and his inspirational message. In fact, one friend last week told me that Travis very much lives on in those inspirational messages. Katie, coming up at 5 o'clock, the Hyatts are going to tell us what it was like to meet Jodi Arias for the first time and how Travis Alexander might have prophesied his own murder.
A traveling salesman and motivational speaker who had everything going for him. Born in 1977 in Riverside, California, Travis was raised with strong ties to the Church of Latter-day Saints.
And then she's over here, so I'm looking at my peripheral because I don't want to turn this way. And I'm like, and he's like, shut up, shut up, shut up. And I got this gun against my neck, But the good news is it didn't kill me.
A faith that would play a big role in his life and relationships. But as successful as he was in his career, his love life was about to take a deadly turn. Enter Jodi Arias. Born in 1980 in Salinas, California, Jodi was a budding photographer with a seemingly normal childhood. But according to Jodi, her upbringing was far from perfect. She claimed her parents were abusive, punishing her with wooden spoons and belts. This background would later be part of her defense, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Jodi and Travis first crossed paths in 2006 at a conference. Sparks flew, or at least that's how it seemed. Travis, who was 30 at the time and deeply committed to his Mormon faith, was so smitten that he encouraged Jodi, then 27, to convert to Mormonism. And guess what? She did. But things quickly got toxic, real toxic. By 2007, they were dating, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Travis's friends were worried, sensing something off about their relationship. They weren't wrong. Just 5 months into dating, Travis broke things off, feeling guilty about breaking his vow of premarital celibacy. Yep, naughty boy, straight to hell, right? But seriously, this breakup was just the beginning of the nightmare. Even though they were no longer officially together, Jodi wasn't ready to let go. The pair kept seeing each other, and Jodi moved back to California while Travis stayed in Arizona. He started dating other women, but Jodi wasn't having any of it. Talk about a woman scorned. She slashed his tires, hacked into his Facebook, stalked him on dates, and sent vicious anonymous emails to the women he was seeing. Fast forward to June 2008, and things take a gruesome turn. Travis was found dead in his home, having been stabbed 27 times, shot in the head, and nearly decapitated. The scene was horrific. When the police started investigating, all signs pointed to Jodi, but she claimed it was all in self-defense. Yeah, self-defense.
Hi, so what's going on?
He's dead. He's in his bedroom.
Okay.
In the shower.
Okay, how did this happen? Do you have any idea?
No, we have no idea. Everyone's been wondering about him for a few days.
She said that there was blood. So is it coming from his head? Did he cut
No,
his head?
it's all over the place.
Is there any weapons around?
No, I don't know. Not that I saw.
I need all of you outside. Has he been threatened by anyone recently?
Yes, he has. Okay. He has an ex-girlfriend that's been bothering him and following him and slashing tires and things like that.
And do you know the ex-girlfriend's name?
Do you remember it? Yeah. What's his ex-girlfriend's name? Ask Taylor.
And do you know if he's ever reported it to the police?
Her name is Jodi. No, he hasn't reported anything about Jodi's behavior.
27 stab wounds and a gunshot to the head. During her interrogation, Jodi spun a web of lies that would make any seasoned detective roll their eyes.
To a lot of people, and everybody's pointing a finger at you.
I know.
You know, everybody is saying, I don't understand what happened to Travis. I don't know who killed him.
Part of me does and part of me doesn't.
Why? Because you don't want to remember?
No,
Jodi.
There's a morbid curiosity.
Jodi.
I wanted to know how he died.
We can keep playing these games over and over again. I'm not going to believe you. When you start telling me the truth, then I can believe you. But I can't deny this evidence. I can't. The trip you took doesn't make sense. The opportunity was there. Your pictures on that date with him. Your blood is in the house, mixed with his. Mixed. Not alongside, but mixed. Your hair is there with blood. And your palm print is there in blood.
She first denied being anywhere near Travis's house, but when evidence piled up, like her hair and bloody palm print, she switched stories, claiming masked intruders killed Travis and let her go. Finally, she settled on the self-defense story, saying Travis had been abusive and she had no choice but to kill him. Travis Alexander was a successful salesman and motivational speaker, living what seemed like the perfect life. Born in 1977 in Riverside, California, Travis was deeply involved with the Church of Latter-day Saints, and his faith guided much of his life. But when he met Jodi Arias in 2006, his life took a dark and unexpected turn. Their relationship, which began in 2007, quickly became toxic. Despite the red flags, including Jodi's obsessive behavior, Travis continued to see her. He even joked to his friends, "Don't be surprised if I end up dead one day," a chilling statement that would later prove eerily prophetic. In early 2008, Travis and Jodi's relationship took a strange turn. Travis had initially planned to take Jodi on a work-related trip to Cancun, Mexico, scheduled for June 15th. However, as time passed, he decided to change his travel companion to another female friend. This decision didn't sit well with Jodi, who was already displaying signs of obsession. On May 28, 2008, a burglary was reported at the home of Jodi's grandparents, where she also lived. Among the items stolen was a .25 caliber automatic Colt pistol, which mysteriously vanished and was never recovered. Maybe, but things were about to get even stranger. Fast forward to June 2nd, and Jodi rents a car in Redding, California. She then drives to Travis's home in Mesa, Arizona. What happened next is a bizarre mix of intimacy and horror. The two took explicit photos together, capturing their final moments of what could be described as a twisted, toxic romance. On June 4th, Travis missed an important conference call, raising concerns among his friends. By June 7th, Jodi was back in California, returning the rental car with some rather suspicious details. The car's floor mats were missing, and there were red stains on the front seats. Meanwhile, Jodi's appearance had changed. Her once blonde hair was now dyed brown, and she had cuts on her hands. These were red flags that no one could ignore. When Travis's friends hadn't heard from him for several days, they decided to check on him. On June 9th, they entered his house and discovered a gruesome scene. Pools of blood led them to the bathroom, where they found Travis's lifeless body in the shower. The shock and horror were palpable. When the police arrived, Travis's friends immediately pointed to Jodi as a potential suspect, recounting her bizarre and obsessive behavior, stalking, hacking his social media, slashing his tires, and more. The investigation quickly zeroed in on Jodi. Police found the camera that had captured those intimate photos from June 4th. The final image of Travis alive was taken at 5:29 p.m. that day, showing him in the shower. Just moments later, other photos captured his bloodied body on the bathroom floor. A bloody palm print was found in the hallway, containing DNA from both Jodi and Travis, an undeniable link. Jodi Arias was arrested at her home on July 15th and extradited back to Arizona in September. The evidence was damning. Investigators concluded that Jodi had stabbed Travis 27 times, slit his throat, and shot him in the head with the very gun stolen from her grandparents' house. Despite her desperate attempts to cover her tracks, the truth was undeniable. In her defense, Jodi claimed she never even went near Travis's house during her trip from Redding. But as the investigation unfolded, it became clear that sometimes the simplest explanation is the correct one. Jodi Arias was eventually convicted of first-degree murder, and the case remains one of the most chilling examples of how obsession can lead to tragedy.
State of Arizona versus Jodi Arias, verdict, count 1. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn, in the above entitled action, upon our oaths, do find the defendant as to count 1, first-degree murder, guilty. 5 jurors find premeditated, 0 find felony murder, 7 find both premeditated and felony. Signed, 4-person. Is this your true verdict, so say you want it all?
Ladies and gentlemen, the clerk is now going to ask each of you a question. Please answer yes or no.
Juror number 1, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 2, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 3, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 4, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 6, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 7, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 9, is this your true verdict?
Just a couple of minutes ago, you heard the verdict from the jury. What are your thoughts?
I think I just went blank. I don't know. I just feel overwhelmed.
Was it unexpected, you think, this verdict?
It was unexpected for me, yes, because there was no premeditation on my part. I can see how things look that way, but I didn't expect the premeditation. I could see maybe the felony murder because of how the law is written, but I didn't. The whole time I was fairly confident I wouldn't get premeditation because there was no premeditation.
It seemed, and you got a lot of questions from the jury, it seemed like some of those jurors didn't believe what you were telling them, didn't believe your story.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
I can understand that, I think, because of the lies that I told in the beginning to try to cover up this, cover up that, and hide.
Did you avoid eye contact with Travis's family while you were in there? Did you make eye contact, and what are your thoughts on that?
I typically avoided eye contact. Travis comes from a family where they all sort of look a lot alike. So when I see their faces, I see Travis, and I see the man that abused me, and I don't want to look at that.
Do you have a sense of where the public feeling is about you, whether you're liked or not liked? I mean,
I get the sense that there is great division on both sides, but I believe the majority is against me. A psychologist once explained to me that society has this need to persecute people. They get some sort of gratification from it, so there might be something going on there.
The worst outcome for you?
Well, the worst outcome for me would be natural life. I would much rather die sooner than later. Longevity runs in my family, and I don't want to spend the rest of my natural life in one place. I'm grateful for my defense. They've worked very hard. Not 100%, but they've worked very hard.
What would you have changed?
There is a man who saw me with bruises all over. I would have made every effort to find him, and I didn't.
What would you like to say to all the people who seem to really dislike you, even hate you?
Well, maybe I should be flattered that they focus on me so much. If they dislike me so much, then why am I always on their radar?
In the aftermath of Travis Alexander's murder, investigators were piecing together a timeline that just didn't add up. They zeroed in on Jodi Arias' movements, especially focusing on her suspiciously timed road trip. The crucial period was from June 2nd, when Jodi rented a car, to June 7th, when she returned it. This short window of time turned out to be a focal point in the investigation. Jodi claimed she was simply traveling and experiencing a series of unfortunate events. However, the timeline and the evidence raised some serious red flags. Investigators scrutinized every detail of her trip. They realized that despite Jodi's claims of car trouble and rest stops, her story had holes the size of a freeway. The detectives were not buying it. They noted that even if Jodi had stopped to sleep or deal with problems, she still had over 48 hours unaccounted for. She was traveling alone, with no one to verify her whereabouts. Adding to the suspicion, Jodi's cell phone records showed it was turned off for significant periods during her trip, from one location to another, a detail that didn't sit well with the authorities. When interrogators pressed Jodi about her trip, she struggled to provide convincing answers. Her cell phone had gone dark between certain points, and the last known location before it went silent was close to Travis's house. Jodi insisted that her phone died, and she couldn't find her charger, which conveniently had been misplaced under the passenger seat. But her explanations were falling apart. The detectives had evidence that painted a troubling picture. They had access to explicit photos taken at Travis's home, which included timestamps showing that Jodi was indeed there. The photos were part of the damning evidence, showcasing intimate moments between Jodi and Travis. According to the prosecutors, Jodi was driven by jealousy and rage. Travis had moved on and was dating other women, which Jodi couldn't handle. The prosecution painted a picture of a woman who, in a fit of jealousy, killed Travis. Jodi's courtroom drama took yet another twist when she decided to represent herself. The judge surprisingly allowed her to do so, further intensifying the public's fascination with the case. As the trial unfolded, the prosecution and defense painted two very different pictures. The prosecution described Travis as a good man who was brutally murdered by a jealous ex. On the other hand, Jodi's defense portrayed her as a victim of Travis's possessive nature, arguing that she was driven to kill in a moment of extreme duress. But regardless of the narrative spun in the courtroom, the harsh reality was that Jodi's story was mired in inconsistencies and contradictions. The evidence against her was overwhelming. Jodi was enraged when she learned that Travis was dating someone else. This jealousy supposedly led her to commit a brutal crime of passion. The prosecution painted a vivid and horrifying picture of the murder. Travis allegedly suffered excruciating pain as Jodi slashed his throat, severing his common carotid artery, jugular vein, and trachea. They described a scene of utter brutality, with Travis enduring immense pain as he lay dying. Jodi's 18-day testimony was a whirlwind of drama and detail. She spoke candidly about her relationship with Travis, sharing intimate details and describing the abuse she claimed to have suffered. But the more she talked, the clearer it became that the prosecution's version of events was gaining traction. They argued that Jodi's actions were not a spur-of-the-moment decision, but the result of a premeditated rage. Lead prosecutor Juan Martinez did not hold back. He described Travis's final moments in graphic detail, emphasizing the pain and suffering he endured. Martinez argued that Jodi's attack was not just a crime of passion, but an act of extreme cruelty. The prosecution depicted Travis's death as a slow, agonizing experience, one that left him in unimaginable pain before finally succumbing. The courtroom drama didn't just end with the prosecution's portrayal of the crime. There were emotional and shocking moments, from Jodi's dramatic recounting of events to the detailed and often gruesome evidence presented. The trial was a roller coaster of emotions and revelations, keeping viewers glued to their screens as the truth slowly emerged. As the trial continued, it became evident that Jodi's story had serious credibility issues. Her attempts to manipulate the narrative with forged letters and inconsistent testimonies only added fuel to the fire. In the end, the trial of Jodi Arias was a gripping saga of love, jealousy, and murder. It showcased the complexities of human emotions and the lengths people will go to when driven by anger and betrayal. Whether you believe Jodi's claims of self-defense or the prosecution's portrayal of a premeditated crime, one thing is clear: This case has left a lasting mark on those who followed it. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section.